On a few times now. He has been, over the last decade, it's been a decade, a enduring example of grace and faith, even while under assault. 10 years he's been in court. 10 years he's been the target of litigation and regulation from the Colorado Civil Rights Commission all the way to the Supreme Court, where he was victorious in a 7-2 decision. But that didn't stop the religious bigots and leftists from continuing to, and identitarians, and I repeat myself, from continuing to target Jack Phillips, who's the owner of Masterpiece Cake Shop in Colorado. Well, and now he's got a book on his experience over the last decade. The book is entitled The Cost of My Faith, How a Decision in My Cake Shop Took Me to the Supreme Court. Jack Phillips joins us along with his attorney, Ryan Bangert, as attorney from the Alliance for Defending Freedom, and I suggest that all guests come on the show with their attorney, so I'm glad that Jack did. Jack, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having us.
So the impetus to memorialize all that has transpired over the last decade in a book, what was it?
Well, back in July of 2012, two men came into my cake shop and asked us to create a cake to celebrate a same-sex marriage. And I told them, sell you other products that I have. I will gladly make other custom work for you, indicating that I'm not turning you away because of your sexual orientation. It's because of the message of the cake. Wedding cake has an inherent iconic message. And they swore at me, flipped me off, stormed out of my shop, and went to the Colorado Civil Rights Commission, like I said, filed a complaint, and that went through the Colorado court system then and all the way up to the United States Supreme Court, where we had a 7-2 victory back in 2018, June.
But since then, how many people have come in your shop and asked you to make similar cakes?
Well, we've had, before that, probably 4, maybe 5 requests for cakes to celebrate a same-sex union, and we were always able to communicate, what we thought, and that it was the message of the cake that we couldn't create. But it's also not just that cake. Before my wife and I opened the shop way back in 1993, we decided what the cake shop would look like, and we decided that there were certain cakes we wouldn't create because of those messages, among them being Halloween cakes. We don't create cakes to celebrate Halloween, and we don't create cakes that would be anti-American or racist or that would denigrate or degrade or insult other people, including people who identify as LGBT. We also knew that we wouldn't be able to create cakes that celebrate same-sex weddings. Even though way back then that was on really nobody's radar, and it was against the law in Colorado. No Colorado official could endorse that from their office, but I was being forced to create a cake to celebrate.
Yeah, it's interesting how you became the preeminent threat to Western civilization, according to some. So since your Supreme Court victory, though, as we discussed last time you were on the program, but just to refresh people's recollection, it hasn't stopped. You're in court today.
Back in March, we just finished a trial where an attorney here in Colorado, the day that the Supreme Court announced that they were going to take our case, which was a pretty cool, crazy day, that very day, this attorney called our shop and asked us to create a cake to celebrate a gender transition. It would be blue on the outside and pink on the inside. Those colors were to celebrate changing from a man to a woman. And we told this person the same thing, that we'll create other cakes for you, custom work. You're welcome in our shop to buy anything you like, but we just can't create that cake because of the message that it does. So this person took us to the Colorado Civil Rights Commission. They sued me again, even after the Supreme Court told them in the ruling that they were treating me unequally with other bakers and that they were being unfairly hostile to me and my faith. But they took it up again, but then that was ultimately dismissed in March 2 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you feel like there's agitators or instigators that are coming in? Obviously, they know you're not going to bake the cake, but they want to, push your buttons anyway. How do you handle that?
Well, my faith compels the way that I treat my employees, the way I handle my marriage, and the way raise my family and handle my money. And it also compels the way that I treat customers come in, even if they come in or call me and send me hateful emails. I treat them all with the love and respect that Christ wants me to. I just can't create every message that people ask me to create, but I do serve everybody.
Hmm. Do you ever have people come into your shop and say, "Hey, Jack, next time somebody tries to jackpot you, why don't you call me and let me help with the dispute resolution here. I'll just keep you out of it." Any calls like that?
Um, well, we actually have Alliance Defending Freedom. Ryan is on the line here also, but Alliance Defending Freedom is the best in the business at handling these legal things,
Yeah.
constitutional rights and the freedoms that we have that we all cherish. They're even defending these rights for the people who are suing me, oddly enough.
Yes, right.
Someday they're going to want to
Unbeknownst to
still
them.
value these rights.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of something sort of extra legal, but yeah, you're probably handling it the better way. The title of the book, "The Cost of My Faith," but from our conversation, so that sort of suggests something that your faith has cost you something along the way. But my sense from you, from reading about you and from talking to you, is that you don't see this as a particular burden, that this has been a struggle, even though it's been a decade, and even though it has imposed earthly costs, but that has actually strengthened your faith.
It has. Every American should be free to live and work according to their conscience without fear of punishment from the government. And my faith has been strengthened as we've gone through this, not just for the political side of it, but my relationship with Christ is so much better and stronger. Our families closer together. It's been beneficial in many ways.
And what has this taught you about religious freedom in America?
Religious freedom is, one of the most valuable parts of our Constitution, the free speech, freedom to exercise your religion, not just have one, but freedom to exercise it, and that our government is there to protect those rights. They don't give them, they don't have the right to take them away. Their job is to protect them. And going through the court system, being in the United States Supreme Court was an awesome experience, but going through all that and understanding how our system is supposed to work, unfortunately populated by sinful people, but on paper, its design is really, really good. And I never paid any attention to that in school, but as I've gone through all this, I realized how valuable and how good our system really is.
It's interesting because what we see happening around the world, where there are not the First Amendment protections that exist in this country, natural right. We had an evangelical pastor that was arrested in London for preaching Genesis 1. We had the pastor in Calgary who shooed the police out of his church, arrested up there. And of course, those things aren't happening here, not yet, not exactly. And it's not only the government, it's also the private sector, sort of big, woke corporations and businesses, and the pressure that's applied to them. And I wonder if, separating the government side of it for a minute, you're a business person, not to give them any ideas, but have you had problems with dealing with vendors or in the operation of your business from the private sector, not the public sector?
Well, early on, we had one of our favorite wedding venues call and tell us that we couldn't bring cakes up there anymore. But most of our hostility has come from the government, again, the people who are supposed to be protecting our faith. The Colorado Civil Rights Commission told me at the beginning their ruling was that I have to make wedding cakes for everybody who comes in, regardless of their orientation and what kind of wedding ceremony it was. And I wouldn't even be able to help with the design of the cake. If they wanted an adult-themed cake or a pornographic cake, I could not say no. So our choice was to either stop making wedding cakes altogether or, fold up and create artwork. It's what I think it is. The cake is my canvas that goes against my deeply held religious beliefs. So we lost that part of our business, which was a huge part, as well as going to trial later on.
Mm-hmm. And what about your family members? I know you're in business with your family too, and have you ever gotten pressure from them or from a friend to say, sort of what you hear? We've heard some of the arguments when we've talked about this story at the outset. Is what? Just make the cake. What's the big deal? Just make the cake. You could relieve all this pressure. Just make the cake.
Like I said at the beginning, my wife and I decided which cakes we could not create. And we drew a line in the sand, so to speak, and that line hasn't changed. So if somebody came in today and wanted a cake for a same-sex wedding, celebrate that, we couldn't do that. And our family is pretty much completely in agreement with this. We've all grown much closer together. In fact, the Civil Rights Commission also ordered me to change my policies and retrain my staff in the errors of my ways and report to them quarterly for 2 years. And at that time, my mom, who was in her late 80s, was working for me. And she told me, by the way, I will not be re-educated. So,
Good for her.
Thank you, Mom. I love you. That was awesome.
That's cool. It's a cool family. It's a great story, if unfortunately one of literally trials and travails. Jack Phillips, the owner of Masterpiece Cake Shop in Colorado. The book, The Cost of My Faith, How a Decision in My Cake Shop Took Me to the Supreme Court. Pick up the book. Also, I mean, you can order cakes online and stuff online from you, right?
Well, not cakes. We have another website set up, masterpiececakeshop.store, where you can purchase other products that are shippable. But cakes, I'm 0 for 7 on shipping cakes. So
okay, all right, fair enough. All right, you can drive to
Need a lot
Colorado
of
and get a
bubble
cake.
wrap.
But make shop. I can't again. Masterpiececakeshop.store is the website though for other stuff.
For shipping things to Chicago, New York, wherever. Yeah. So.
All right. Support
you can
Jack.
do that way, but you can't ship a cake.
Don't just buy his book. Support masterpiececakeshop.store. Get a T-shirt, a hat, whatever Jack ships. Jack, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck with the book.
All right. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Ryan Siebert, CEO of SG Homebuilders and a customer of Signature Bank. Over the last 10 years, my business pivoted multiple times to adjust to the fluctuations in the Chicago real estate market. Signature Bank's partnership with us and their ability to adapt to changes has allowed us to become a leading custom home builder. Signature Bank is a relationship-based business bank right here in Chicago, providing services and advice that address our unique situation, and they serve as a trusted consultant on what works best for my business. Signature Bank helped us build SG Home Builders while we were busy building dream homes for our clients.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. If you have kids in school, this past year has been a major wake-up call and pain. All of a sudden, many of the things you once took for granted changed overnight. For many students, school is still happening mainly online, and for some school districts, that seems to be the way they want it to be for a while. But it's not the case with many private schools. Most privates have been in classrooms since last August, and students have been receiving a high-quality education from teachers who share your values, except at Loyola Academy and Wilmette. Do you want your child to suffer through another year of virtual learning? No. So now's the time to consider a private school. The most affordable way to do that? halfpriceschools.com. Right now, vouchers are available for 50% off the normal tuition for private schools across Chicagoland, including, but not limited to, Chicago Hope Academy on the near west side of the city, Trinity Lutheran in Lombard, Trinity Lutheran in Roselle, Kingswood Academy in Darien, Faith Evangelical Lutheran in Antioch, Christian Liberty in Arlington Heights, and many others. So go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a school near you, purchase the voucher today. Then prepare to send your child back to school this fall in classroom to a school you can trust. Visit halfpriceschools.com today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Being a truck driver, I don't always eat right, and it kind of balances out my natural body and gives me a lot of energy. And I just recently went to the doctor to do a bunch of tests, and what was amazing, just like other people have said, is the first question was, what are you doing? You are perfect. And so I told her this balance of nature. And I said, you really need to look it up because it worked. So my checkup was excellent. So I'm just thrilled. I am really happy.
Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new